morning. Do most of you have a pad and a paper? Fair enough. To begin this session, let me speak about Team Udaipur in KMM. We have about 64 volunteers there, and we get very regular updates from what is happening in Udaipur. All these 64 volunteers are a part of an organization called Secure Meters. And they have been using every moment possible in their daily schedule to do practices. Somebody is going to the washroom and the other person says, 5 minutes hai, ek chota sa mock dena hai. I've heard that they are saying there are so many places in the factory that we did not even know existed. And because of KMM, every small nook and corner is being used to prepare, to listen, to inquire, to talk, to discuss, and to give mocks. They are doing really a remarkable job. I would also like to speak about one AC today, and that is our darling Gurmel. While we have a team of 36 very committed ACs, the way Gurmel functions in his team is very classy and very unique. He's like that person who can get the best out of people whose self-belief might be absolutely low. He just doesn't know how to give up on his people. There's this amazing kid in his group called Sejal, and Sejal was supposed to go to a school to take a session. Her confidence was a bit low. She spoke to Gurmel, and the way Gurmel could motivate her, she believed that she can actually go and take the session. Now, Sejal is a very special kid because 2 years ago, when she was fighting with certain issues of her life, we know what is the kind of state of mind that she had. She went to the school, took a brilliant session, and then a few days later, she messaged me saying, my principal ma'am has asked me to take a session for 12th standard. My school is up to 12th. I have just passed out. If you permit me, can I go and take a session in the 12th standard? Honestly speaking, I'm also very nervous and I'm not sure whether I'll be able to take a good session or not. She went to the school, she took a beautiful session, and I'm just going to read out the message that she sent to me. Happy evening. Sir, it was a great opportunity to take a session in the 12th standard for the first time. At the beginning, before entering the class, I was a little nervous and scared. But as I entered, I could see the excitement, liveliness, and happiness among the students. The students were very interactive and eager to know what comes next. I had 2 teachers who were listening to me in the session. Being their student, one teacher just had tears in her eyes. So this teacher has taught Sejal earlier. Principal ma'am also asked me to take sessions further. Sir, for me, today was a proud moment in my college, and not just for me, but my teachers and principals were more happy and proud of me. All this is because of Keep Moving movement. Thank you so much. You know, when somebody has a crisis of confidence in standing in front of one person and speaking, and then they go and expose themselves to a classroom filled with 50 plus children, and speak in a way where the teachers earlier, who have seen what I was earlier, are so proud of me that they have tears in their eyes. Now this is incredible and really, really beautiful. And all this was possible because of the leadership of Gurmel. Gurmel, great job. He is always happy. And he's always young. You go to his house or you meet him, you will always come back positivity. And I don't know how, but he always creates time. And the bonhomie, the family kind of an atmosphere which is created in his team is just marvelous. Pads and pens, please. I'm going to ask you some questions. And I will request you to mark yourself between 0 and 5. Needless to say, I'm going to request you to be super honest. And some of you may find it a little difficult, but please don't look into your neighbor's paper. This beautiful set of 9 questions is only for you. The answers that you give and the marks that you score is only for you. At the end of this experiment, if you want, you can just tear the paper off. But just think about it. Write down the marks. At the end, we will have to total it. So here it goes. 0 stands for absolutely no, and 5 stands for absolutely yes. In between, whatever marks you want to give, you can give. Point number 1. I'm afraid people important to me may find out that I am not as capable as they think I am. How much would you like to give yourself? I'm afraid people important to me may find out that I am not as capable as they think I am. 0 stands for absolutely, and 5 stands for absolutely yes. Whatever you want to give. Given? Lovely. Now raise your hands, all of you. And after you have given your marks, please keep your hands down so that I know how many are still giving their marks. It's hard for me to accept compliments or praises, especially about my intelligence and accomplishments. So when somebody praises you about your intelligence or accomplishment, do you find it easy or difficult to accept it? You know, when somebody appreciates my hairstyle, I very gladly say, you have got good eyes. Point number 3. At times I feel my success has been kind of luck. The success that I have, there has been an element of luck involved in it. What do you think? Absolutely no, absolutely yes, somewhere in between. Point number 4. I often compare my ability to those around me, and I think they may be more intelligent than me. I often compare my ability to those around me, and I think they may be more intelligent than me. Point number 5. I sometimes think I obtained my present position or gained my present success because I happened to be in the right place at the right time, or I happened to knew the right people. So I sometimes think my present position has been gained, or my present success has been gained because I happen to be in the right place or the right time, or I happen to know the right people. Point number 6. When I receive a great deal of praise and recognition for something I have achieved, I tend to discount the importance of the same. When I receive a great deal of praise or recognition for something that I have achieved or accomplished, I tend to discount the importance of what I have achieved. Point number 7. I tend to remember the incidents in which I have not done my best much more than those times when I have done my best. I tend to remember incidents where I have not done my best much more than the incidents where I have done my best. Last two. If I am going to receive some good news, like a promotion or an award of any kind, I hesitate to tell others until I have already got it. If I am going to receive a promotion or an award of any kind, I hesitate to tell others till I have actually got it. For example, when you are engaged, you don't tell people. Only after you have got married, you tell people. Some might say that's not an achievement or award. You hesitate to say what is going on right and good and beautiful. You first want it to be done and only then you say. Last point. Sometimes I feel or believe that my success in my life and in my job is some kind of a mistake. 9 questions. 0 to 5. Total. Divide by 9. Now you know what is your average marks. Now you need not tell anybody your average marks. Now if you want, you can tear the paper and keep it, but just keep that number in mind. This is a series of questions which is kind of experimented with people when psychologists want to find out if somebody has been going through an imposter syndrome. Now, what is an imposter syndrome? And why is it important and relevant to us? If your average is anywhere between 0 to 1, that it means your voice of being alive is super strong. If it is between 1 to 2, then you are doing well in life. If it is 2 to 3, it is concerning. The voice of shame is loud and more than 50% of the times. If it is 3 to 4, you are in a critical situation. And if it is 4 to 5, you wouldn't have come here. 4 to 5, you immediately need help. Your sense of self-belief, self-esteem is critically low. Neither will you take opportunities, nor will you experience joy. Your energy levels will never be high. You will drain energy from not only yourself, but also people and atmosphere around you. If possible, keep these 9 questions in mind. If you have not written the 9 questions, see the video, note down those 9 questions somewhere, and every 3 months, answer these questions. And our target is, our score should be less than 2. If it is less than 1, it's awesome. If it is more than 2, then you need to sit and analyze where in life voice of shame is becoming very powerful. We need to deal with it and then move on with life. Right now, let me move on with the session. We have a life schooler whose name is Vinod Dhusia. Now, Vinod is an architect. He used to set the final exam question papers for architecture for Pune University. Now, Vinod is very young, very dynamic, and super creative. He used to set the question papers in a following format. And it's a very interesting format. First 50 marks, he will set for questions which any student who has studied even for 15 days will be able to answer. He says, I don't want people to fail in the exams. Some people wake up late, so tomorrow in life they will become better. So even if you have studied for 15 days, you will pass. Next 30 marks will be only for people who have studied the entire year. If you have not studied regularly, if you have not studied consistently, you will not be able to answer those questions. And final 20 marks would always be about issues that have confused architects for generations. Which means, in the world of architecture, these are puzzles. They have not been able to understand why and how of those questions. They found in 3 years, nobody is able to crack those 20 marks. Pass percentage has gone up. Some people are falling into the bracket of 50 to 80. And of course, Vinod was asked to stop setting the question papers. He was told you can only set questions where everybody knows the answers. And when I asked Vinod, why do you set questions like this? He said, Naren, the teacher has 3 jobs. Job number 1 is to motivate the students. So first 50 marks is to motivate the students. Job number 2 is to reward those who are consistent. So that is what I do with the second frame of questions. And job number 3 is to identify genius. If I give a question which everybody knows the answers to, then how will I find out my genius? In the world of architecture, who is the next greatest architect? I should be able to know it the way they write their exams. He said, when I would set the question paper, I would be searching for genius amongst all those who are writing the answers. Which means those 20 marks were not meant for all. It was meant for only those people who are born to be architects. Who will live as an architect, who will prefer to die as an architect. And if they are asked for the next 7 births, what do you want to be? They would say, I want to be an architect. Those 20 marks for people for like that. Similarly, this session may not be for everybody. It might be for those 20%. I've said this earlier and I'll say it again. Swami Vivekananda said, give me 100 committed youth and I will change the country. Swami Vivekananda. He didn't say, I need the majority of our country to be transformed for me to transform my country. In the independence struggle, 100% of Indians did not participate. Less than 10 participated. And India became free. This session is not just a personal session. But the idea behind this session is to identify, to nurture, develop and create these few people who have the power, like that of an engine, to take the entire train ahead with them. I believe, I appeal that people present inside this hall must all belong to this category. And when you go inside the classroom to speak, speak willing to transform as many lives as possible. I truly believe this is possible in today's world. Don't go by what is there in the newspapers. What are the natural highlights in a newspaper? A few days ago it was PMC cancels all the tenders. some malpractice anticipated. Then a few days ago, you had MLAs from Gujarat taken to Bangalore. Then we had that minister getting raided. We live in life, we live in a world, we live surrounded by people, we live surrounded by mediums, but there is a lot of negative news which is coming to us all the time. A little earlier was better because only newspapers will give you negative news. Now 24/7, negative news is emerging on your screens. But this is not the truth. By the way, let me give you something biological and medical. If you are a person who is negative, if you're a person who's a little scared, if you're a person who finds out what is not okay around you faster than what is okay, don't blame yourself. Blame a part of your brain called the amygdala. Kya dala? Amygdala. That is an almond-shaped size part of your brain on both the hemispheres, which is designed, which has a work to identify any threat around you. Its work is to tell you what is not okay. So if somebody says you are so negative, tell them, not me. Amygdala. Jokes apart. In the last 100 years, humanity has progressed much more than in the entirety of 10,000 years. Let's take every phase of life. Child mortality. You know, there was a time when more than 50% children would expire. How many of you had grandmothers who produced quite a few, but only a few survived? How many of you were here? And your granny would also say, "एक मिनट रुक, 11 हुए थे, 7 बचे, फिर 2 और गए, अभी 4 हैं." There was a time when infant mortality was absolutely okay. Today, it's come down to less than 5%. There was a time about 60 years ago when the literacy in the world was only 20%. Today, literacy is 75%. Do you know today, the average lifespan of a human being has grown by 100%? Do you know the last 50 years, just 50 years, 1965 to 2016, 51 years, income has gone up by 10 times. Steve Pinker is a Harvard professor. He did an outstanding research, and the crux of his research was, whether you believe it or not, we are living in the most peaceful time in the history of humanity. Right now, in the world, there are no two countries which are officially at war. Whatever is the crime which is happening is within the country. Whatever is the violence that you see is within the countries. There is no war. Officially, all countries in the world are at peace. There is a little display of muscle every now and then. So what is happening right now between India and China? But this is just posturing. This is like two gorillas fighting over one gorilla and showing whose chest is more powerful. While the whole world is praising India, China needs to flex its muscles and say, "Itna powerful nahi, humko dekh." Whole world is downplaying China. They had to do something to get the whole attention of the world. But there's no threat. We are living in the most peaceful times ever in the history of humanity. I really believe that we are at a time when we should think about abundance. We should think about impact. When I say abundance, what do I mean? Do you know the sun gives us 5,000 times more energy than what we need? And we yet don't know how to tap onto that energy properly. What is scarce? जिस चीज की कमी है ना, it is actually in abundance. We just need somebody who can bridge it. There is abundance of knowledge. There is abundance of wisdom. There is abundance of technology. There is abundance of people who want to innovate. We are living in the best of times. Never before in the history of humanity, a human being had the power to change the world with an instrument as simple as the phone. With this phone, I am connected to the whole world. Some people say 4 billion people are online now. Which means if I send something, 4 billion people can know about it. Now, if I create something positive today, 4 billion people can benefit out of it. If we use technology properly, everybody in the world can know how we can go to class 9th and 10th and talk to children inside. You know the power that we have today? An ordinary human being with a 10,000 rupee phone can do that. And today look at how poor people live. Go to any basti in Pune and you will find every house has a dish antenna. Everybody has a phone. And just 50 years ago, how poor people used to live. We are in the best times. And this time just needs those few committed people who want to say, I will change the whole world. Today it is possible. 5 years ago it was not possible. 10 years down the line, I don't know what will happen. But today, any human being who takes the decision can bring about profound changes. I'm not saying we don't have issues. We have lots of issues. We can also see those issues as an opportunity and a purpose for our life. When will you join this mission? What will make you also say, yeah, I think if I put myself to it, I can actually transform. I believe if I commit myself, something miraculous can be done. I believe by using technology properly, I can create a movement. If you want to believe like this, you will just need two things. Just two things. One, voice of being alive. With voice of being shame, you will be happy to survive. With voice of shame powerful, we will always live a life of insecurity. जो मेरे पास है चला गया तो क्या होगा? I love this girl. What if she does not love me anymore? This phone of mine, if I don't have it, then what will happen? If somebody else gets more attention than me, what will happen? Insecurity will be a part of our life if voice of shame is powerful. But if voice of being alive is powerful, then you need just one more thing. And that is a tremendous sense of pride, where you actually look up to yourself. Now some of you may say, Naren, थोड़ा difficult लगता है. Pride in myself. I haven't done anything in life which makes me feel proud. So the imposter syndrome that we spoke about in the beginning is what I go through. I can look at my entire history and I find a series of mistakes. I'm not able to recollect and anchor on something phenomenal so that I can fill myself with pride. Pride nahi hai. My life has been survival. It is not pride. My life has been show off. It is not pride. My life has been attempting to prove a point to people. It's not pride. My life has been attempting to become comfortable. It is not pride. So, कहाँ से चालू करूँ? I mean, I don't know how to be proud. I have a solution for that. If you're not proud of yourself, can you be proud of our country? Do you know about our country? How many of you Indians over here? Some people are not raising their hands. Come from Pakistan? Okay, thank you. All of you are Indians. Do you know what a phenomenal country India is? I don't know how many people have countries where the name itself is extraordinary. What is the actual name of our country? And some would say it's Rishi Muni, whose name was Bharat, from where it's come. But how did that fellow get his name? That's the point. Bharat is about a place. The word Bharat comes from two sounds, Bha and Rat. Bha meaning light and wisdom, knowledge. Not just knowledge, but light and, not light or. Light and wisdom. That's what Bha means. And Rat means devoted. So that part of the world which is devoted to light and knowledge. It's got nothing to do with religion. This culture precedes all religions. This place is about a culture. This is not a geographical location. It's a culture. People who want to find out light, people who are searching for the correct knowledge, that is what all of us are. That is what our ancestors are. Okay, Europeans came, Persians came and gave us the name India. Nowadays I find it a little awkward to say India. After I understood what is the meaning of the word Bharat, I would like to call myself every time Bhartiya. It's just by default that my wife's name is also Bharti. But trust me, I didn't marry her for her name. Can you imagine when you say, I am a Bharatiya, what are you saying? I belong to that land which searches for light and the right wisdom. And now look at yourself. You come from where? You come from that place. That should be enough to fill you with pride. You know, till 250 years ago, the number one economy in the whole world was of India. Do you know, in countries like Syria and Lebanon, in Angkor Wat, in their books, they have chapters on Indian merchants, where they are told, if you have to understand how civilization spread, you have to understand the culture of India and the role played by the businessmen of India. Other countries are studying of the contribution we have made to the civilization of the world. To give you an idea about how brilliant our people were, how many of you have heard of a word called star? S-T-A-R, star. Some of you have not heard. Now I ask questions just to find out whether you are still awake or you have gone out to sleep. My grandmother used to tell me that a fish and a horse can sleep with eyes open. In India, they also say, Purv Janma Karma. So I'm just wondering, some of you, what was your past birth? Some karma. That's why these questions now and then, to see whether you're still awake or not. Now listen to this. This is extraordinary. There is a phenomena called the star. And let's say around a star like sun, solar system, around the star what goes? Planets. Now this is a very natural phenomena up there in the skies. How many of us, when we look up, we don't understand the difference between a planet and a star? Very honestly, I have never been able to understand. So it looks one and the same to me. 6,000 years ago, our rishis found out something called Arundhati Vashisht. What is Arundhati Vashisht? They are a twin star. What is a twin star? Normally around a star, you have planets. When around one star, there is another star which is going around. It is called a twin star. When we have one star and another star going around, it is called a twin star. All of you, it is called a twin star. What is special about Arundhati Vashisht? It is also a twin star. But in the entirety of existence, among the billions of stars up there, Arundhati Vashisht is the only twin star where one is not stationary and the other is not going around. Both these stars are going around each other. In Tamil Nadu, if you go to the villages, after marriage, the husband and wife can have their first night only after the husband takes his wife outside and shows her in the night skies Arundhati Vashisht. If Arundhati Vashisht is not shown, then they cannot have their first night. What is the idea behind this? The husband is telling the wife, I am not going to be the center and you are not going to rotate around me. Both of us will take care of each other equally. And hence, among billions of stars, the only star which is shown is called? All of you are married here? अभी उसको पूछ किधर है अरुंधति वशिष्ठ पहले बता फिर वो इंप्लीमेंट कर उसके बाद में बाकी कुछ How beautiful marriage will be, na? You don't have to go to any counselor after that. Next time, whenever he says, eyesight चाहिए, एक मिनट इधर आ, वो देख ऊपर. 7,000 years ago, among billions of stars, they knew there is only one twin star. How did that do? Today we see it through binoculars. Glass चाहिए, glass, lens. How did those fellows with their eyes understand that? Miraculous. You can't even imagine the kind of wisdom which exists in our scriptures and this part of the world. You are a Bhartiya. You are a Bhartiya. You belong to a land which has light, which has knowledge, and which has wisdom. You belong to a land which has never wanted to take from others and therefore never attacked any neighbor. The best qualities possible in a human being is present in this part of the world. Unless you fill yourself with pride, you cannot have high aspirations. And the key to a great life, voice of being alive, plus high aspirations. High aspirations is born out of a sense of pride. I am special. I live in a country which is very special, which means I must also do something special. Only when this is there inside you, are you ready to live life of a patriot. Otherwise, you won't mind corruption, you won't mind doing wrong things, you won't mind taking shortcuts in life. But because it is independence, And because you'll be going to the class during the Independence Day celebrations, this is my appeal to all of you. Think about this session very, very deeply. Mirror it with your life. Do a little more research on why you should be so proud to be a Bhartiya. And when you go inside the classroom to talk, you must be a person who carries patriotism in your heart. In fact, every cell of your body should be able to say, I am going to do something very special for my country. Are you proud to be a Bhartiya? Yes. So let's do one thing then. The last part of the session, let's ask the class, how do you think we can be patriots? What are the different ideas by which we can be patriots? So I give all of you a challenge. As many people inside the classroom, so many ideas you should come up with on ways to be a patriot inside the classroom. Let me give you a few examples. See, when I say be a patriot, I'm not expecting any one of you to join the army and go and fight in the borders. That is one way of being the patriot, but there are many other ways of being a patriot. This is a classic story. 1961, Russia sends the first spacecraft to space. After World War II got over, where Russia lost, America was the country in the whole world. In the space war, when Russia wants to get its respect back, and America says the best science is from America, when Russia sends this spacecraft out in space, first country ever in the history of the world, whole Russia was celebrating, and America became acutely sad. In a race to say, we are going to win the prestige back for our country, JFK announced in the Assembly of United States that within 10 years, America will successfully put a man on the moon and bring him back alive. He had no idea how they are going to do it. But sometimes when you have aspirational goals, you set a point, you set certain posts, and then you ask yourself, now let me think how to go about it. There are two ways to look at any goal of your life. One, look at the resources you have and think with this resource what can be done. And two, decide on a goal and decide how to create resources. How much resource I have, and from here if I want to move, I play very safe. How much I want to do, therefore I have to develop resource, I live a life of adventure. I live a life of being alive. So JFK's this goal was a alive goal. Billions of dollars were invested. 7 years went. We have not even created the spacecraft required to send a man to the moon. And the American Parliament started getting restless. They decided to stop the budget. But before they have to formally sign, they were supposed to send one group of people to NASA and then say, we went there, kuch khas mila nahi, so we are deciding to close it off. The most critical senator was walking ahead, and there were about 7 senators who were walking behind. This is the guy who's leading the whole thing about, let's stop it. What will we achieve by sending a man onto the moon? And JFK was saying, when we send a man to the moon, the whole country will get its confidence back. How many of you have heard about something called the Olympic quest in India? You haven't? Okay. Some of you have. There is a group of corporates who have decided to make sports the main cause of focus of celebration for our country. So they have put in resources in crores of rupees wanting to identify people who are capable of winning gold medals. So their target by 2024 India should get at least 50 gold medals in the Olympics. So this movement is called Olympic Quest. And what is the theme line in this movement? 8 grams of gold to lift a nation. An Olympic gold medal has 8 grams of gold. When Abhinav Bindra won a gold medal, how did we feel? Very proud, right? 8 grams of gold to lift an entire nation. JFK thought, with this space odyssey, we will be able to lift the entire country. And this senator said, "It's a bakwas hai." As he enters into NASA headquarters, he finds a janitor sweeping the floor with that broom. Now the senator got a little irritated. When I am coming over here, everything should be spick and span. Why is he doing this work in front of me? So he looked at this janitor and asked with a lot of frustration, "What the hell are you doing?" And the janitor very peacefully replied, "Helping put a man on the moon." He didn't say, "I'm sweeping the floor." He said, "I'm helping put a man on the moon." Now that is vision. In the whole, I have a role. I may not be the CEO, I may not be the chairman. I'm not going to be the person who is going to walk on the moon. But I'm going to play an important part by keeping the floors clean so that there is no disease, so that there is always freshness, so that people in the right frame of mind do their work. I have a role to play in putting a man on the moon. A life schooler, Vipul Shah, was going abroad for studies. And just before going, he came to meet and he asked me, "Naren, I'm going there for about 2 years. Tell me, what should I keep in mind?" And I told him, "Vipul, you're going to study in a university. You might be the only Indian many foreigners will experience in their entire lifetime. You might be the only Indian they will meet. You are going there not just to study for yourself, but assume that you are going there as an ambassador of India. Tomorrow, if your classmates become very successful and they move to positions of power, they should see themselves as a friend of India because they have a friend in Vipul. Anybody you meet abroad, your job is to convert them into friend of India. If you can do that, I will be proud of you and you will be a successful life schooler and a successful Indian. If you take some degree, come back and just make money, that's nice. But much more can be done. You will be a patriot when you can go there and create friends of India." Now, Vipul need not go and fight at Doklam. He need not go to Saichin. He need not go to Kargil. But he can do this job and be a patriot. So let's have a session right now where I ask you, what do you think can be done by you for you to be a patriot? I have a few ideas, but I would like to listen to your thoughts. As a regular citizen of this country, what do you think can be done by you to live life as a patriot? Now, what you do inside the classroom is first ask them this question: how to be a patriot? It will be a question for which many answers may not come, and if answers come, it will be in these 3, 4, 5 directions. And then twist the question and ask them, what do you think the country needs today? That will bring much more clarity on what needs to be done for you and me to be patriots of our country. Trust me, India is a miracle which the world is waiting for. There is no other country in the world that can lead the whole world the way India can. You and me, if we decide to play our role in our lifetimes, we will see not just India doing well, but because of India, the whole world doing well. When you go to the classrooms, go with this intense desire and a sense of power. यार कुछ तो बदलेंगे. Because till now all that we have discussed is how to become better. Now what we are discussing is how to create an impact. The next session that we are designing is also completely mind-blowing and it will change lives downside up. I truly believe this year has been the best Keep Moving movement ever. And I'm so glad that all of you are playing a role, are playing a part in that.